We'll be bringing you the very latest in the world of sports, entertainment, business, and international news. But first, let's start with the story on the agri sector, because this year's Christmas and New Year festivities might be affected greatly because for the first time in a long while, availability rather than cost risk denying some households access to chicken and other poultry products for their meals. It follows a graphic business report that revealed that cold stores are unable to stock up chicken and other poultry proteins for sale ahead of the festivities. Their inability follows a delay in poultry imports into the country from the United States of America, Brazil, and Europe as a result of disruptions to the global container shipping industry. Now, on the line to help us understand more of this situation and how it will impact the festivities is Mr. Anthony Morrison, who is the Chief Executive of Chamber of Agribusiness, Ghana. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much, and very good afternoon to your charity.
Can you share more findings from your report with us before we settle for some specifics?
Okay. So the global supply chain has seen some disruption over the few months. We've seen supply chain disruption in the areas of logistics and also a major component of what we do or what we otherwise use here in Ghana to produce chicken. We've seen rising costs of corn, millet, wheat bran, and several others. We've seen prices shot up tremendously with regards to the feed additives, which is lactin, methionine, potassium, amino, the immune boosters, the vitamins, and all that. So this has heavily contributed towards some shortages in the industry, and we are looking to see how such shortages could be mitigated. But the current major challenges on the high sea, especially with traffic of containers that are currently stacked up on the major high sea, is a major concern now, and how some of these containers could get to their destination by the time the Yuletide gets in. So for us, we have profiled some major importers of frozen chicken and also producers of local indigenous hard chicken, both broilers and layers. And we realized that there is a likelihood of some shortages.
Am I getting the impression that your report is telling us the local producers do not have the capacity to more or less address this supply chain disruptions, and I see it's more of an opportunity presented to them when we cannot import for them to produce and meet demand?
Yes, that's true. Currently, Ghana is the biggest trade partner when it comes to poultry meat with regards to the European Union. As of February this year, down to June, we have done almost 480,000 metric tons of imported frozen chicken. We import quite a lot from US and also from Brazil. Now, the increase in the feed additive has hampered on productivity on the local poultry industry. For instance, the price of maize, which used to be 70 to 80 Ghana cedis for 50 kg, is now being sold at 140, 150 for the same size. So, and maize constitutes about 60 to 70% of feed additives, of feed products that we do. So, after June, a number of poultry producers have to downsize most of the layers that they have so that they can be able to procure the feed and feed the remaining of the layers. And most of the spent layers have also been sold out. Okay, currently we are mopping up in the north and some other parts of the OT region. Okay, so it's a struggle as we speak. We have consistently been humming on this fact that there is a need for serious government intervention and also that of the financial institutions. But nobody seems to be giving us the ear to listen very well. And you see, as a country, we import more than 10 million day-old chicks annually. This is excluding the data from Doma Enclave, where about 2 million or 3 million plus comes in from Ivory Coast. The ones from Burkina Faso are not within the 10 million plus. So we have a potential to develop this industry. In fact, this country is the largest sector employer. Okay, so we need to look at this industry very well. Look, we consume more than 2 million eggs annually in the country. Okay, even that is lower because the standard for egg consumption per country, Ghana, is very low. So there is an enormous investment opportunity, an industry that has what it takes to make our country and economy very strong and robust.
So if I get you right, as it stands now, there is nothing we can do, maybe any sort of urgent measure that the state could adopt to address this problem so that, you know, find shortages during Christmas for people to celebrate and celebrate well?
Well, government in the budget stated they were going to distribute 2 million day-old chicks. Now, if we are going to do broilers takes to 5 to 6 weeks. We are 2 weeks to Christmas. By end of January, if government is able to supply these day-old chicks, we should be able to have some chick poultry feed coming in by end of January. But if this is not the case, then it's actually going to have a major challenge on the industry.
Thank you so much for your time. Anthony Morrison is the Chief Executive of Chamber of Agribusiness and has been helping us to understand the impact of the potential impact of the looming shortage when it comes to chicken. And of course, a few weeks to Christmas is a worrying development. We also have on the line the National President of the Ghana Poultry Farmers Association, Mr. Victor upon AJ. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. From where I sit, I see an opportunity for the local poultry industry once importation of poultry products is a challenge. Is that the case?
The number you're trying to reach is...
We seem to be having a bit of a challenge with the line. We'll try to raise Mr. Victor back on the line to... so if you can hear me, I was asking whether it's not an opportunity that has been presented to local producers once importation of poultry products is a bit of a challenge.
Thank you very much. I think this information has come at the wrong time because it doesn't take a week or two to produce the chicken. Even the boilers will take about 8 weeks, which is 2 months. So if you have that information now, there's nothing you can do about it, except that we also prepared ourselves to serve the Ghanaian market with the local chicken.
Well, we already know that the demand for poultry and poultry products is very high in the country. You waited for an opportunity of this sort to present itself before you may want to produce to meet demand. Why weren't you doing so even before this challenge came about?
Well, you see, this year, Ghanaian farmers have been operating at a very difficult environment and conditions. The feed inputs have been very difficult for us to, the availability of feed inputs has been very difficult. We were some time back not even getting maize for the birds. So it has continued to now. Now that the new maize has been harvested and the prices is coming down, but I think it will not come as low as what we were buying last year. Because last year, a 50-kilo weight was just 65 cedis. And this year, it went up to 160 cedis, which is over 250%. Now that we are buying it at 130 and 140. So it has not been easy for the Ghanaian farmers this year, but we are still managing to serve the public.
So, looking at this, the strength of your members, you think you cannot meet the demand if Christmas sets in and we still have not been able to resolve the issues relating to the importation of poultry products? Your members cannot produce to meet the demand.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we are still managing to produce whatever we can produce. And we are going to send meet the demand of the Ghanaian. But what I was saying is that from January to now, it has been very difficult for the Ghanaian farmer operating in a very difficult environment and conditions. Because if your raw material is increased over 250%, and you yourself, you cannot increase your end product, it becomes very difficult for you. So many farmers have been running losses. Some sold their birds prematurely. You know, the lifespan of a layer is about 90 weeks, but some were selling at 30 weeks, which was not the best. But still, we are trying our possible best to serve the market.
In the context of this report, are you going to engage your members to get them to more or less ramp up production so that you may meet the, increase in demand?
Well, it's not as easy as you are saying because you have to look for the day-old chicks, and even raising the bears will take you about 8 weeks. So you can never meet the Christmas demand. But what I'm saying is that we still have a reserve that can serve the public this year. Although we cannot take advantage of whatever is going on to produce. But we still prepared ourselves to serve the market.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Victor Oponeje is the national president, Ghana Association of Poultry Farmers. We will try to establish connection with our correspondent in the northern region who has also been following up, engaging the farmers directly as to the opportunity has been presented to them. But let's go to a different story. We'll come back to that because we're having a challenge establishing connection. Oh, we have the correspondent on the line. Mutala, thank you so much for your time. You've heard the concerns of the poultry farmers since morning when you started engaging them. What have they been telling you, and how do they see the opportunity presented to them ahead of Christmas?
Sonny, it is unfortunate our poultry farmers here will not be able to meet the demand. Even though this is an opportunity presented to them ahead of Christmas, but you know, it doesn't take 2 weeks or 3 weeks to rear broilers or even layers, let alone to dispose of these layers after they have laid eggs for a period of time. What they are saying is that this opportunity should not be allowed to go in the coming months. They are urging government to come to their aid, support them. One of the key highlights I think from most of the farmers I've interacted with today is the fact that they have challenges with feed. Two things. The feed is too expensive and it is not easily available. And that even if you are able to get feed and you go out there to provide to your animals, at the end of the day, you are not able to even break even, and so they are kept at bay. I met this journalist who ventured into the poultry industry recently, and he was compelled into selling his birds recently at a ridiculous price of 12 cedis and 13 cedis because he could no more afford feed. He was trying to raise some layers, about 600 layers, but unfortunately, because of feed, he had to just dispose them off.
Mutala, thank you so much for keeping us up to speed and on this issue. We'll be coming back for more on the development. We will try also to engage government as to what they are doing to help resolve this issue. Now, the government of the Republic of Korea, through the Korea International Cooperation Agency has presented safety equipment and items valued at $25,000 to the Kumasi Vocational Training Institute in the Ashanti region. The items will, among others, improve sustainable health and safety systems at the institute. We'll bring you that story a little later on, but now in some of the days of the stories, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji, says though COVID-19 cases in the country in terms of numbers are low, the threats are still high considering the new Omicron variant. He said some travelers who came in from Nigeria and South Africa 2 weeks ago have recorded the Omicron variant, yet the Delta variant is still high. Currently, 7 more Omicron variants have been detected through genomic sequencing from the second round of persons who had the variant on the 21st of November 2021.
Omicron doesn't require any special treatment. It's just a variant of the same virus. All those who test positive at the airport, we do sequencing for them. The last batch we've done a couple of batches, and we have seen Omicron in all of them. The first batch was about 21st of November. That's when we started seeing the first cases, where we saw about 34 out of 116. Subsequent ones, we found another number at the airport, but still Delta is the highest. Unfortunately, we have seen some numbers in the community labs. The sample have taken the community lab, which means that we have Omicron within the country. But what matters most is the fact that the preventive and the preventive methods are the same: the mask wearing, social distancing, and hand washing works, and most importantly, the vaccination. We also have fourth wave in countries around us who are coming to, and the most important is the festive season. It creates a situation where there's a lot of movement, a lot of visitors, and these are all the pointers to the danger to prepare hard to ensure that we don't get any surges across the country. Even though the numbers are low, the threats and the pointers are that if we don't do something different, we may end up in a situation that we found ourselves early this year.
Now, effective today, Tuesday, 14th December 2021, airlines which fly unvaccinated foreign nationals into Ghana will be fined $3,500 per passenger. This new directive, according to the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji, is to prevent the spread of the Omicron variant of the COVID-19 in Ghana. Dr. Kumabwaji said there will be several ways to check the airlines from presenting fake documents and unvaccinated passengers.
We are using our panel bias software, the trusted traveler system, to verify them. Of course, the airlines will do their verification before you come, and when you get here, you also verify. So those are the systems in place to ensure that we are able to see to it that we sieve out all fake certificate, whether it's the PCR negative results or the certificate that they have, vaccine certificate they are bringing. So there are several ways that we can verify that it's really your car, there's nobody else.
Take you back to Kumasi, where the government of the Republic of Korea, through the Korea International Cooperation Agency, has presented safety equipment and items valued at $25,000 to the Kumasi Vocational Training Institute in the Ashanti region.
The presentation of the items is aimed at improving sustainable health and safety systems culture among trainees, staff and artisans within the Kumasi Vocational Technical Institute, KVTI. Officials of KOICA encourage staff of KVTI to draw up health and safety programs that will help reduce the number of injuries and illnesses in the institute and the general well-being of staff, trainees and artisans within Swami Light Industrial Area. Among the items presented to the institute were safety hard helmets and boots, first aid kits, mechanical hand gloves, smoke detectors, fire blankets and fire alarm and siren. They were provided under the Improving Safety for Vocational Education Environment at KVTI project. The project was initially to be undertaken by volunteers dispatched to the institution through a flagship program dubbed World Friends Korea, an overseas volunteer scheme, but due to the coronavirus pandemic, no volunteer has been sent to the facility till date. The country director of Korea International Cooperation Agency, Mr. Moo Hyun-kong, announced the introduction of a hybrid volunteer program comprising 6 months e-volunteering and 6 months of face-to-face volunteering.
Dispatched volunteers can take up initiatives or projects in their host institutions, aside their stipulated duty and responsibility.
The manager of the Kumasi Vocational Technical Institute, Mr. Richard Adojemfi, explained that the provision of the safety items was as a result of a safety audit performed in the institution. He pledged that the safety items would be used for their intended purpose. There are over 1,600 volunteers currently serving in 46 countries in Asia, Africa and other regions. In Ghana, 25 persons, including volunteers, officers and medical doctors, have been dispatched through the scheme since its inception in 2016.
The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Samuel Abu-Jinapor, has called on chiefs in the Volta region to collaborate with the government by supporting his ministry to ensure that lands, forest reserves and their inherent natural resources are all protected for the benefit of the people. Mr. Jinapor made the call when he addressed members of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs to kickstart his 4-day tour of the region.
Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Mr. Samuel Abu-Jinapor, has already visited 14 out of the 16 regions, with the exception of the Volta and Oti regions. He first paid a courtesy call on the Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha. The officials then met and interacted with the members of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs. The president of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs, Togbe Taprehodo, said he was hopeful the meeting with the lands minister would lead to proper ways of harnessing the resources in the region for the region's development. Mr. Samuel Abu-Jinapor said government is committed to spending to investigate the possibility of gold deposits in commercial quantities in the Volta region. He was, however, not happy with the spate of sand winning and deforestation in the region and the country at large, and called for support from the traditional authorities to stop such bad practices.
I am determined for us to enhance the exploration, prospecting, recognizance of minerals here in the Volta. The ministry wants to work closely with the Regional House of Chiefs in a formal manner so that together we can work closely together to ensure that the lands in the Volta region are protected, and above all, when they are exploited for the benefit of the chiefs and people of the Volta region.
The Lands and Natural Resources Minister then inspected the Save the River Dye project at Hohoi, where over 4,000 trees have been planted along the banks of the river.
Sectoral ministers of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have proposed January 1 next year for the reopening of all land borders. The bloc took the decision in collaboration with the West African Health Organization during a virtual meeting last Friday. The West African economy lost about $50 billion in value, or 6.7% of the bloc's cumulative GDP since 2020, when the sub-region first recorded cases of COVID-19. Yesterday, we spoke with our correspondent in the northern region who painted a picture of how the border closure affected businesses in the region. We'll go to the Upper East region today and also speak with our correspondent there, Samuel Ayama, who has been monitoring and asking businesses the impact of the border closure on the operations and what it means for them. That's now ECOWAS has directed countries to reopen the border. Samuel, if you can hear me, let's start with how the closure impacted businesses in the region.
Thank you very much, Sunny. The closure of the borders actually impacted negatively on businesses across the border towns here in the Upper East region and even in the regional capital, because the Upper East region, we have a lot of approved borders here where the our counterparts or the people in the other part of the country, that is the Burkina Faso, Togo, they all come to Ghana and do business, and Ghanaians also go to the other end for businesses. And because of the closure of the land borders, it has just affected them seriously, that they cannot move there freely to do their business. And a lot of them, they depend on these businesses they will use to practice just or to do to just for their livelihood. But as we speak, because of the closure, they cannot move in there, because when you move to Boku, a lot of the people there are traders or are into business, and you move to Namo, you move to Paga, all of them are into business. So the closure of the borders have really impacted negatively on their activities.
How did they receive the news of the directive given by ECOWAS and the fact that member states, including Ghana, is preparing to roll out measures and reopen its borders ahead of the deadline?
They receive it in a good faith. They are so happy about that decision or the directive by the ECOWAS to make sure they open the borders to allow them move freely and then go in there and then do their business. Because when you move to Paga border, for instance, very soon the tomato traders or women who trade in tomatoes from the southern part of the country, Kentampo, Kumasi, Accra, and the other areas in the country, they normally go there for their business. But because there was a closure, even though there wasn't a closure of goods and services like moving goods from that part of the country and from this place to that end, but there are some women who actually go there and buy in their, like they buy in small quantities and come to Ghana and sell. These women were not allowed when they are going there. They always face a lot of challenges. And then you move to places like Pulmakom, that is in the Pusika district, and then you move to Kulugugu, also in the Pusika district. These borders, the women, they do butter trade where they carry share butter across the other country, that is in Sankasi, B2, Sankanduri, just to sell and then buy some other cereals there to come and then at least prepare something for their family. But because of the closure of the borders, they were not having that chance to go there. So it is just welcoming. They are really happy about the decision by ECOWAS.
Samuel, keep your eye on the development. We'll be coming back for more in our subsequent bulletins. Now, 2 months ago, the government launched the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative for the Greater Accra region. The policy by the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council seeks to make it obligatory for all individuals and corporate entities to be responsible for the cleaning and greening of their immediate surroundings. The necessary bylaws have been passed and gazetted by the 29 assemblies in the Greater Accra region to enable the lawful implementation of the initiative. Our Tema regional correspondent Michael Diwonu is out and about in some communities in Tema to see how well this laudable initiative is being implemented.
Okay, good afternoon to you, Sunny. If you are familiar with Tema, I am coming to you live from Site 10, Community 1, and talking about the sanitation situation here in the metropolis. It's not one that anybody would be happy with. In a GP, I'll be showing you some images that tells you that the sanitary conditions in the metropolis is not really proper. I'm currently showing you some images. This refuse dump is developing gradually here, and you can't tell who is responsible for dumping this refuse here. This is Community 1, Site 10, the main road, and anytime the cars pass by or the wind blows, the whole plastic and other refuse are carried out into the community. Before coming here, I passed through some household, and refuse dump are in bins, also waiting to be collected. This one, I am told, has been here for the past 1 week, but we don't know why it's not being collected from here. It's gradually developing and it's heaping up. We don't want to see a situation like Stone landfill site developing here. We don't know whether because the landfill site have been decommissioned, that is why refuse collection has become a problem here in the Tema metropolis. And there is this guy who is also operating organizing shop here. I've been asking him who are responsible for dumping this refuse here, but he's also not talking to me. And so this is the condition I can report from the Tema metropolis, Tema Community 1, Site 10. The refuse is gradually developing, it's heaping up, and anytime the wind blows, it carries debris of the refuse into the community. And the earlier something is done quickly about the situation, the better, before any outbreak is experienced here in the Tema region. Just recently, the new mayor visited GBC Obonu FM and mentioned to us categorically that sanitation is going to be one of his key areas that he's going to focus on. I don't know whether this has not caught his attention yet, but once we are reporting it, we are certain that it will get to his attention and something will be done quickly before it gets out of hand. It's gradually getting into the road and it's a source of concern to a lot of people here in the metropolis. And so this is the that we come in right in the middle of the community. And so we are going straight into what do you call it? Mankwade roundabout, a very popular roundabout here in Tema. The condition is not really good. Sanitary condition is not very good. Refuse dump is heaping and is gradually taking over and also crippling onto the road. And so for GC News, Michael from Tema, Site 10.
Now we still stay in that region because a 60th salute for Tema Senior High School this past weekend as it organized some events to mark its new age. Past and current students gathered on the school campus to catch up with their classmates. There were parents and well-wishers on hand to cheer Temasco on.
Excitement ramped up through the program and never let up rise until the end. From performances by the school's choir and the school culture troupe, which was interjected by some alumni of the school. Then came display by the school's cadet. The girls' school prefect commended the management of the school and the school's alumni for their immense support over the years and urged that more be done to address the major challenges she and her colleagues face daily. Immediately after her plea, every item on her wish list was met. The headmaster of the school, Mr. Kwabena Beidu, emphasized the need for a more technology-heavy approach towards education. He added that Temasco shares the government's vision of digitalizing the various sectors of the economy, stressing that enhancing education at the basic level is key to national development. Some students and staff were handed prizes for sterling performances in their various fields. About 100 students were given prizes, a number of which were sponsored by former students of the school and Pomasidor Ghana. Teaching and non-teaching staff of the school were also acknowledged for their long and distinguished service.
Now, most times, when you hear about social media, it's only the negative effects that people talk about, which include misinformation, pornography, hate, and harassment. But there are also good things about social media because people get to socialize, people network, and there are a lot of opportunities for people to take advantage of. Now, to create the needed awareness, students of the Armed Forces Secondary Technical School in Accra have been educated on the negative effects of social media.
Following reports on how most students have become addicted to social media, watching explicit scenes such as pornographic materials, The Woman Called She, a charity organization, has embarked on a sensitization campaign for pupils of the Armed Forces Secondary Technical School. The students were schooled on the pros and cons of social media. They say social media itself is not the problem, but rather its use. They mentioned the benefits of using social media and also how to identify and avoid its negative effect. The topics included cyberbullying, depression, suicide, among others. The teachers commended the organization for the effort and called on others to also share the knowledge on the safe use of the internet. Madam Elsie Boatin is the director of the Woman Called She.
Find out what your kids are doing on social media. It might surprise you. Pick their phones, check what they are doing. It might surprise you. I think hand in hand. And also let them be open to their kids. When you are open, they come to you when they are being pressured to sext or being pressured, being cyberbullied online. They will come to you. Once they are not coming to somebody, they are withholding it, and it causes anxiety and depression. That's another thing that we spoke about. So, and then the students, of course, also limit it and focus more on their studies.
Some of the students who spoke to GBC News say the training has been an eye-opener to the excessive use of social media.
Social media has lots of good advantages, but then if you use it too much or if you use it wrongfully, it can affect you very negatively. So mind you, whatever you use or do on social media.
You're not supposed to share certain things, make some comments on social media, because you won't know what is waiting for you in the future to come.
We're very lucky to have sanitary pads after the show, and then that talk show benefited us a lot.
A 26-year-old Ibrahim Sharim urgently needs 70,000 cedis to undergo cervical surgery. This is to decompress his spinal cord and stabilize his fractured column. Mr. Sharim fell from a height and was admitted at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital in October this year with a total paralysis of the limbs, reduced movement in the upper limbs and severe respiratory distress as a result of a collapsed lung. He is therefore appealing for support to enable him to recover.
Ibrahim Sharim is a laborer who offloads cartons of tomatoes at the CMB market. According to his brother Isaka Banga, he suffered severe injuries after he fell off the truck full of cartons of tomatoes.
Business had been slow on that day, so at about 4 p.m. when the loaded truck arrived, all the offloaders rushed onto the truck, but Ibrahim fell off, sustaining injuries.
Ibrahim looks malnourished and fatigued. His palms, fingers and lower limbs are inactive. He is also unable to breathe properly because one of his lungs has collapsed. He urgently needs over 50,000 cedis to undergo cervical surgery, an amount neither Ibrahim Sharim nor his parents, who are peasant farmers, can afford and are appealing to the public for support.
70,000
My brother needs 70,000 cedis for the treatment and we need help. I need everyone's support. Please, have mercy on me.
He is also expected to undergo 50,000 cedis, which he says he cannot also pay. Donors who wish to support Ibrahim Sharim to raise the over 70,000 cedis to enable him to undergo treatment can do so through MTN mobile money number 0249828808, account name Isaka Banga, or deposit monies at ACB branch of Omnibisic Bank Ghana Limited, account number 020004618218, account name Isaka Banga.
I need everyone's support. Please, have mercy on me.
Good afternoon and good to have you join us. Time now for the business segment, and I am Dorothy Ajimai. The Bank of Ghana is warning that uncertainties over food and petroleum prices may exert inflationary pressures in 2022. Although the economic outlook remains positive, the central bank said it will closely monitor developments to prevent the potential risk of undermining long-term inflation targets and its price stability goal. The governor of the Bank of Ghana sounded the caution at the 2021 annual Bankers' Week dinner of the Chartered Institute of Bankers here in Accra.
Inflation steadily eased to as low as 7.5% in May 2021 from 11.4% at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in July 2020. It, however, quickened to 11% 5 months later, jumping out of the central bank's medium target band of between 6 and 10%. The Bank of Ghana attributed the development to supply and demand shocks in food and petroleum products. Speaking at the annual Bankers' Week dinner, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, said the underlying inflation pressures are also elevated, highlighting the risk to the inflation outlook. In addressing that, the central bank raised the monetary policy rate by 100 basis points to 14.5%, the first increase in several months.
The economic outlook for 2022 is positive, although there are some potential risks which should be closely monitored. In particular, the uncertainty surrounding food prices, petroleum price adjustments, and the potential second-round effects of these are likely to exert inflationary pressures in the outlook.
The governor added that the country is burdened with demonstrating stronger recovery and ensuring that the ambitious revenue target is achieved.
We are at a point where there is no room for policy forbearance on all levels. Otherwise, the huge financing burden would unravel the anchor and erode the gains that we have made in the last 4 years. This calls for a social contract on all fronts, with common aspirations across the aisle to make sure that we sustain the recovery's momentum.
Despite the price pressures, the Bank of Ghana is confident inflation will hover around the upper limit of a target band of 8 plus or minus 2.
Over 150 female entrepreneurs across the country would be taken through the rudiments of exports to enable them access the international markets. The training, according to Deputy Chief Executive at the Ghana Export Promotional Authority, Mr. Albert Kasim Dirura, is to ensure that women who owned businesses are well versed with the nuances of exports.
Ghana is listed as one of the top 3 countries with the highest percentages of women-owned businesses across 58 markets globally, across the 4 categories of Ghana's exports, that is, agribusiness, manufacturing and services, industrial arts and crafts. Women businesses make up to 65%. Out of this number, women-owned businesses dominate the processed and semi-processed sector, producing food products and derivatives, beverages and cosmetics. As a forum to train women in the export space, the Ghana Export Promotional Authority will be training women across the country to make them carve a niche for themselves in the export market. The trainees will be taken through courses on the legalities of international trade, target markets in export, and export documentation, among others. A Deputy Chief Executive at the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Mr. Albert Kasim Dirura, spoke of the reason why women were the focus of the training.
For us, this is an opportunity that we think that we should actually bring to the doors of the women, because they are very forceful, and when they are in the forefront of affairs, they want to make sure that it succeeds by all means. And so this is not the first time we are organizing such training for women. We have a track record, and we think they've stand the test of time.
A principal export development officer at the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Augustina Dankwa, called on participants to collaborate among themselves, network, and put the knowledge acquired to good use to ensure they are better placed in the export space.
Since COVID-19 broke out, The price of gold has seen a drastic boom, even soaring to $2,000 by the end of last year. At the National Executive Meeting of the Ghana Mine Workers Union in Accra, the General Secretary, Mr. Abdul Mumin Gabana, called on mining companies to take advantage of the profits earned from the price boom to invest in modern infrastructure in order to consolidate their gains.
Increased in value last year as central banks lowered interest rates and flooded markets with cash as means of dealing with the pandemic. According to the World Gold Council, financial investors added a record 734 tons of gold worth $39.5 billion to their stockpiles in the first half of 2020 to serve as a safe haven for their investment. At the Ghana Mine Workers Union National Executive Council meeting, leaders of the union called on miners to invest in infrastructure and technology from windfall they made from metals such as gold during the pandemic. The General Secretary of the union, Abdul Mumin Gabana, called for an enabling environment for an active participation of indigenous companies in the mining space.
As a trade union, we take an uncompromising opposition to the current arrangement of monkey the work, bamboo the chop, and therefore reinforce our position that mining companies must be strictly responsible for the core business of mining, including associated employees' costs, and therefore should not be allowed to farm out the core business that they have a responsibility and obligation under the law to perform.
The managing director of the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, Nana Akwesiwa, said the company has held the opinion of the union high and their submissions have been key to its operations over the years. The national chairman of the union, Mr. Mensa Jakari, called on employers to stop the act of denying employees the right condition of service and also decent work, as it has dire effects on the workers and the union as a whole.
Let's have the price of gold, cocoa and light crude from the commodity board and the performance of the local currency from the forex market.